Mary Stubblefield.
Here.
Mark Seven. Rick Flynn.
Here.
Mike Burns.
Here.
Bob McAfee.
Here.
Jim Cozy.
Here.
Roger Spencer.
Here.
Don Allen.
Will you all please stand and join me in our pledge of allegiance and the invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Eternal God, as we begin another session of the Carl Junction Board of Aldermen, we ask that you arouse in our hearts a hunger and thirst for justice and peace, so that our actions will be guided by the desire to secure justice and equality for every member of our community. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there any comments or corrections to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda tonight.
Second.
Who said second? Gary? Rick? Can't hear you. Mask. Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Rick Flynn to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The agenda is approved. Next is the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting and approval of this first one. So any comments or corrections to the consent agenda?
Move for the consent agenda.
Second.
Ms. Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The consent agenda is approved. Next is a public forum. Anyone wishing to speak at public forum? I gotta read this, but go ahead and get the microphone.
We just came to see what.
No, I gotta read the statement first. So you gotta listen to it. Promise? I'm gonna read it, you gotta listen to it. All persons wishing to speak to the mayor and board of aldermen during the public comment portion of the meeting should come forward one at a time and stand at the podium, then state your name and address and the subject matter you wish to comment upon. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil manner. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless the mayor or board of aldermen grants additional time. It is the mayor's responsibility to maintain these rules are followed and to maintain order and decorum. If you have a question, the mayor and board of aldermen may of course provide an immediate response. However, the mayor and board of aldermen may also provide no response or a response at a later time as they deem appropriate.
My name is Brittany Johnson. I live on 404 Hodge here in Carl Junction. And I just came to find out what the steps in to take are to try to get speed bumps on our street. A lot of the people on my street have small kids and there's a speeding problem. We put up little signs and then the police told us we couldn't have the signs in the road because they slow down children. So that's what I think.
You want to handle that?
You can't have those signs as long as they're not out into the street right away. So basically 10 foot back from the edge of the road. And there's several of those signs around that people use those. We do not put speed humps on public streets. That's not a recommended item according to engineering. We do put, that's why we do allow the signs and that type of thing.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Public forum? You ready for public forum? Go for it.
My name is Ryan Schultz, South in the Sewers, right at home. I'm asking for easement, talk to Sarah.
Is this the one that's on the agenda?
You are on the agenda.
Okay.
So you don't need to speak in public forum, but you may need to speak later when we take up the issue. Okay?
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak in public forum? Last call for public forum. Very good, then we'll go on. Next is P&Z cases. Case 2106, the final plat for Foxfire Plat 6. This is a public hearing on the final plat. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of the final plat, Foxfire Plat 6?
I knew he would.
You think?
My name is Dan Mitchell. I'm here to speak in favor. I'm here if you have any questions, and this is a continuation of our Foxfire neighborhood. And we have provided an updated MOU to the council.
Yep.
Which I think there was a question on that. We went ahead and changed the language as you asked. And that MOU highlights we won't build on certain lots, and we will be allowed to build on other lots, and we will provide a construction entrance or gate for projects.
Any questions?
Where will the construction entrance be?
Well,
I know it says drop on or
Yeah, we said it that way because we like the agility. My favorite place would be along the roadbed that goes right through the middle of the future neighborhood. I love that because that would just provide compaction over time. The use of that would be a good thing. But I do know, and we need to be careful about the fact that that's not EPA remediated, and the dust that we kick up and the other things that we do in that area, we're just gonna have to have the ability to determine if that's a safe route. And if not, we own all the land all the way down to Joplin Street, and that would be our backup.
And you don't have to build at the south end of it, you don't have to worry about the creek there, right, the water flow.
We do.
You still do?
It's still a backup plan. We'd have to have permission and work with the county,
Okay,
but
yeah.
it's the best we can do.
Any other comments in favor of the,
Where do you say the entrance was gonna be?
Well,
basically on the drawing where the Silver Oaks Street's gonna be?
yes, sir.
See it on here?
Okay.
It's gonna be right where eventually the street will be, if they can do it on that south section.
That's our first.
Yeah.
But we might have to adjust and go down to Joplin Street, downhill to Joplin Street.
Which would be going straight west.
one other thing. Will this road go in before you start up again? Because I mean, when the other plat went in, before I was on the council, I went back to the minutes and stuff. There was a promise for a road then,
Yes.
and it never materialized. I mean,
Because we encountered the same issue
with the EPA.
with, the EPA remediated ground, we ended up burying an excavator on that ground. So that's what happened with that, and then we didn't proceed with this final plat. But we think we found a way through, and that's why we're here today with the MOU. And the MOU does state that the condition of starting to roll out the lots, the reason for that other entrance is construction entrance. That's why it's a gated ground railroad. So I think if we didn't provide it when we're starting, it would go against the intent, right?
Right.
Of keeping construction traffic off the right of the roads. And so yes, the road would go in first.
Okay.
Planning and zoning did meet on this, and they are recommending approval.
Very good. Anything else in favor of it? Very well then. Anyone wish to speak against the final plat for Foxbriar Plat 6? Very well then, I will close the public hearing. Next are ordinances. An ordinance granting an egress and, what?
Memorandum.
Well, the memorandum, we just talked about that. The memorandum was part of the P and Z case. We just talked about, that's the new one they just gave us. That's the one that specifies they have to put the road in, the construction road in, and they can't build anything on EPA land and all that stuff until it's remediated. Yeah. That is down here. That's G. That's okay. That's okay. Next is ordinances. An ordinance granting ingress, egress, and utility easement to Router and Iona Schultz.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, motion by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance authorizing the city to grant an ingress, egress, and utility easement to Rainier Schultz and Iona Schultz, a married couple for its use and enjoyment in connection with grantee's leasehold interest in certain tower property identified in the easement agreement, all in section 6, township 28, page 33, Jasper County, Missouri. As more fully described in the easement agreement attached to this ordinance, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute, process, and deliver said easement agreement to Rainier Schultz and Iona Schultz or on behalf of the city of Project.
Thank you. A second. Discussion?
This is for the cell tower just to the north of our building here. And what had happened, this actually came through Mr. Talley's office from another attorney. What had happened was when we granted an ingress and egress easement, we granted that to Mr. Schultz's DC on the tower. We did not grant him one. So that kind of created a problem for us. So this corrects that.
This corrects that problem. Would you like to say something?
Yeah.
Please.
Maybe I like to have the easement, so be locked out. What goes to my property, but I feel like it into something, I it's going.
We totally understand.
So it would be nice if that could be straightened out, so I get that easement. That's
Any questions? Thank you. And we'll go to second reading.
Make a motion to put it on second reading, title only.
Second. Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Gary Stubblefield, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance authorizing the city to grant ingress, egress, and utility easement to Rainier Schultz and Alana Schultz, a married couple, for its use and enjoyment in connection with the grantee's leasehold interest in certain tower property identified in the easement agreement, all in section 6, township 28, range 33, Jasper County, Missouri. As more fully described in the easement agreement attached to this ordinance, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute, process, and deliver said easement agreement to Rainier Schultz and Alana Schultz for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction.
Any further discussion?
Move to put this ordinance on final passage.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Gary Stubblefield, to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a hand vote to vote electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 70 affirmative, one absent, please vote electronically. The ordinance passes 7-0 with one absent. That is ordinance number
21-21.
21-21. You have your easement. We're sorry we didn't give it to you originally. Next is an ordinance approving a contract with Anderson Engineering for MoDOT sidewalk, for the MoDOT sidewalk project.
Move to put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Mike Burns, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance approving a contract between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and Anderson Engineering Incorporated to provide for professional engineering services for the design and construction phases for sidewalk improvements along Route Z, Pimple Street, Phase 5, Federal Aid Project TAP-9900757 in the city of Carl Junction for sums which will not exceed $40,478.72 for design services, $32,680.72 for construction services, and such additional services and reimbursable expenses as provided in the contract, providing the terms and conditions thereof, and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute said contract for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Discussion, Steve.
This is one step closer on our sidewalks from Grimes Street down to Deaton Drive. No. To the side of the car wash.
Yeah.
Dean, yeah, okay. Algier Martin did not do certain steps for MoDOT for the on-call list, which is where we select engineering from for this type of a project. And Anderson has done sidewalk and trail stuff for us before, so that's where we went back to them.
Yes, Rick.
I'm just curious, will it look similar or the same as what we currently have? More specifically, that there's a little, like, it's not a bike lane, but it's got that stripe and there's an extra gap there.
Preliminary design does not have the curb and guttering on it. We could not get curb and guttering and stormwater and the sidewalk in on the grant, which is what we sent in last time, and they denied it, so that got trimmed out this time. It will have the improvements for the driveways, and it will have the sidewalks.
Any further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
I'll second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Mike Burns, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance approving the contract between the city of Crown Junction, Missouri and Anderson Engineering Incorporated to provide professional engineering services for the design and construction phases for sidewalk improvements along Round C Middle Street, Phase 5, Federal Aid Project TAP 9900757 in the city of Crown Junction for sums which will not exceed $40,478.72 for design services and $32,680.72 for construction services, and such additional services and reimbursable expenses as provided in the contract, provide the terms and conditions thereof, and authorize the mayor and or city administrator to execute said contract or on behalf of the city of Crown Junction, Missouri.
Any further discussion?
What did we pay for what we've already done?
Oh, each phase had a different cost to it. The last phase, which was from Miller to Temple, with, I'm thinking it was like about 350,000 total.
Any further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn, to put this ordinance on final passage. It's the hand vote to go to electronic vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Please vote electronically. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The ordinance passes. That is ordinance number
21-22.
2. Next is the ordinance approving a third amendment to the USCOC of Greater Missouri lease agreement.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
I'll second.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Mike Burns, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance approving a third amendment to the lease agreement dated February 6, 1996, as amended between the city of Crown Junction and USCOC of Greater Missouri LLC, a Missouri Limited Liability Company, to replace and add certain communications equipment to the premises, and authorize the mayor and or city administrator to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Crown Junction, Missouri.
Discussion?
This is for the water tower out on Anita Drive, or UFO. What they're going to do is upgrade it, the radios and the antenna system on it, so that it will be 5G capable
For USA.
for USA.
Any other discussion or questions?
Move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance approving a third amendment to the lease agreement dated February 6, 1996, as amended between the city of Crown Junction and USCOC of Greater Missouri LLC, Missouri Limited Liability Company, to replace and add certain communications equipment to the premises, and authorize the mayor and or city administrator to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Crown Junction, Missouri.
Any further discussion?
I just have a question.
Yes, Mike.
It shows proposed cable route going through the interior of the tower.
Yes, it does.
So any draining the tower and any other costs, U.S. Cellular's gonna.
No, because the interior of that tower, that pedestal that it sits on, is actually empty, and it's got a ladder up it. And then the piping for the water is separate within that, so we don't have to drain it or anything like that.
Is that tower still in use?
Yeah, that tower's used. Okay. Any further discussion?
Move we put it on final passage.
Second.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on final passage. It's the hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. Please vote electronically. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The ordinance passes. That is ordinance number
23.
Thank you. Next is ordinance amending section 130.250 court costs.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Gary Stubblefield, to put this ordinance on the first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending Title I Government Code, Chapter 130, Municipal Court by amending Section 130.250 court costs to mandate the $2 assessment in subparagraph 4 for battered person shelters to delete current subparagraph 9, which previously imposed a surcharge of $3 for the sheriff's retirement fund, and to renumber the succeeding subparagraphs.
Discussion. Now we probably want to know why we're deleting the sheriff's fund.
Supreme Court found that municipalities, third, fourth class municipalities like this, that it was not appropriate for us to be paying into the sheriff's retirement fund when our municipal charges had nothing to do with the sheriff's department. Same argument I had several years ago.
So
The other one is,
when they send us the money back.
supposedly. I'm not holding my breath on that. The other change is for the, is because of language shall and may. Ours said may, and we had to change it to shall, so that, I just thought to let Elena explain it. There you go, Elena. Or Mary Beth, sorry.
The current language says that we may collect a $2 surcharge for domestic violence victims. OSCA does not like that language. You have it pre-programmed in as a set court cost. So anytime we go in, we have to add that on top of everything. And we're not collecting it on everything because if people pay online, we don't have the ability to add that in there. So it just makes it even across the board. Everybody gets assessed the $2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That wasn't meant as a fuss.
Any further discussion or questions?
Move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance amending Title I Government Code, Chapter 130, Municipal Court by amending Section 130.250 court costs to mandate the $2 assessment in subparagraph 4 for battered persons and shelters. To delete current subparagraph 9, which previously imposed a surcharge of $3 for the sheriff's retirement fund, and to renumber the succeeding two subparagraphs.
Discussion.
I guess I have a question.
Yeah, Mike?
You mentioned that the Supreme Court looked at this, and they specifically looked at the situation of a surcharge for the sheriff's retirement fund or for extra surcharges for?
Specifically for the sheriff's retirement.
Because it seems like it'd be the same situation. If the municipal court didn't really have much to do with the sheriff's office, but also not necessarily much to do with battered shelters or battered person shelters. So anyway.
There may be a lawsuit next year.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, let's have a discussion now on the.
No,
You got one down.
Oh, we got one down there, sorry.
So I'm kind of, are we diverting or moving away from funding the services for
No,
No,
we're
we're
changing
adding
it so that it gets collected.
Gets collected.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Maybe put this on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Gary Stubblefield, to put this ordinance on final passage of the handbook to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. Please vote electronically. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The ordinance passes. That is ordinance number.
21-24.
Thank you. Next is an ordinance approving an agreement with Geosync Consultants for a site study for effluent limitations for the Carl Junction wastewater treatment plant into Center Creek.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second that. Motion by Don Allen, second by Mike Burns, to put this ordinance on first reading by title, and will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Cobb Junction, Missouri and Geosyntech Consultants Incorporated to provide professional services in connection with the site-specific metals translator study to establish more appropriate and favorable final effluent limitations for the city of Cobb Junction wastewater treatment plant facility, which discharges to Center Creek for a sum not to exceed $53,000 without the city's written consent, providing terms and conditions thereof, and authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Cobb Junction, Missouri.
Discussion, Steve. Jimmy's not here, I guess you have to do it.
Yeah, this is a continuation of the discussion that we've had about zinc and lead levels in our effluent. This is contract number 1 of 2. We will be having another contract. Hopefully I'll have it for next council meeting. This contract allows them to test at certain places and certain times. They will test the wastewater and get a base background of lead and zinc levels in that. It also establishes the contract establishes where those samples are going to be taken from and how often they take them. And then we send it off for testing with an approved lab. This is all in our fight with the EPA and DNR about us being in non-compliance at certain times in our effluent out of the treatment plant. Their levels, we believe that their levels are an arbitrary number that they have just picked and they are not real world. And this is the way that DNR has suggested that we go about getting those levels tested and then get them in a database then that we can actually use when we talk to the EPA and DNR. This was drafted with the help of one of the organizations that we belong to, Missouri Public Utility Alliance, and they're very active in this type of thing with cities. They're helping Joplin, they help Webb City, and we're just another one in the link of this tri-state mining district that has this problem.
Yes.
Have Joplin and Webb, how far along are they in the process? Are they seeing success out of this? Like, is this actually helping them when they go up against DNR and stuff? How far into it are they?
It has not helped Joplin, and it's because of the size of the problem that Joplin has. They have been able to push back and not get strict mandates. They have been able to get something that's a little bit more reasonable, but it is going to be a long, arduous fight for Joplin. Webb City avoided all of this by putting in their wetlands that they have discharging out of their treatment plant. And at the cost of several $1 million in grant money from different places, that Webb City's been able to do that. And they are seeing some actual positive results coming out of that wetlands.
Mike?
We're trying to collect some baseline data to use state and the EPA and whatnot. Is there any way we can use some of the data from Joplin or Webb City? We're not that far off, rather than start from scratch.
No, because the data that the DNR was using for Center Creek is actually taken. It's not even good data for us that DNR was using because it's not data from right there where we discharge at or from upstream a little bit of where Center Creek flows through. It's data on the other side of Carthage is where they had a collection point. So you've got Carthage, Webb City, and us all discharging into them. Joplin doesn't discharge into Center Creek. They do Turkey Creek and
So if nothing else, that would benefit us if they're collecting upstream from.
They didn't even have a good base level of what kind of lead and zinc was in the water to begin with.
That's what my point was, I guess, that if we were looking for a base level, if Webb City kind of already got that base level, if they did a similar survey,
They did not.
Any further discussion?
The other aspect of this, which will be the other part of the contract coming to you next, is that we do some flow studies on actual flows in our pipes.
Yes, right.
I just kind of reading out that's given us not to exceed $53,000 without our consent, but is that, how many tests is that, and how much are we, I mean, what do we get out of this today?
There are seven collection sites, and they do it monthly for, I've lost the time frame. August of 2023.
So 2 years.
So 2 years worth of.
And that covers the, like, lab fee and everything.
No, lab fees is the contract that we already have with a contract we use for all of our other testing. It is not anything extraordinary with testing.
Mike?
Last thing, kind of the timeline. I don't know, how long do we have to delay until the EPA really tracks down on this? Or?
This puts us on about a 10-year delay.
Okay. I say, if it's the case where nothing's going to happen for 15 years, and then we get this done now, 15 years from now, we'll say that this is outdated, we'll have to do it all again. So I think it'd be prudent to try to get the information as close to the time we thought we were going to use it as possible. As far as the timeline now is when we need to get this taken care of.
They need to get started on collecting that data and getting that set right away.
So we'd have to do the test now and then feasibly again in 10 or 15 years?
Yeah, because of the time it'll take to do the testing, to do the flow monitoring, and then to put the reports and stuff together, you know, it's 2 or 3 years worth of work in there. It could put off any type of a mandate from DNR saying, you've been putting a hammer on us for at least 10 years. So they know that we're working on it. They know that we do I&I work. We just continually to do things to help support that of putting off a major expense of trying to figure out how to do that.
All right.
Any other further discussion?
I move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Gary Stoll, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Carthage, Missouri and Geosynthetic Consultants Incorporated to provide professional services in connection with the site-specific minerals translator study to establish more appropriate and manageable plan including limitations for the Carl Junction wastewater treatment facility, which charges to Center Creek for not to exceed $53,000 without the city's written consent, providing the terms and conditions thereof, and authorizing the mayor and or the city administrator to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Jim Gozi, to put this ordinance on final passage. It's a hand vote. Going to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand, setting the affirmative with one absent. Please vote electronically. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The ordinance passes. That is ordinance.
21-25.
Thank you. Okay. Next is an ordinance approving an MOU between Schubert Mitchell Homes and the city of Carl Junction.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Rick Flynn. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance approving a memorandum of understanding by and between Schubert Mitchell Homes LLC and the city of Carl Junction, Missouri, concerning the development of property commonly known as Phase 6 to the Foxfire subdivision in the city of Carl Junction, Missouri, delineating and agreeing to responsibilities of the party.
This was line B on that. We talked about it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Schubert Mitchell was that big. Any further questions about the MOU?
Did I tell you that PNC looked at it also, and it was part of their recommending?
Thank you. Any further discussion on it?
Move we put the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second. Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Bob McAfee, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance approving a memorandum of understanding by and between Sugar Mitchell Homes LLC and the city of Carlton, Missouri, concerning the development of property commonly known as Phase 6 of the Foxfire subdivision in the city of Carlton, Missouri, to delineate and agree to the responsibilities of the parties.
Any further discussion?
Put the ordinance on final passage.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Rick Flynn, to put this ordinance on final passage. I'm sorry, I can't read your lips. All those in favor? This is a hand vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand to go to electronic voting. 7 in the favor with 1 absent. Please vote electronically. 7 affirmative with 1 absent. The ordinance passes. That is ordinance number
21-26.
Thank you. And finally, an ordinance approving the final plat of Foxfire, plat number 6.
I move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Bob McAfee, put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance accepting Foxfire plat number 6 of the Carl Junction, subject to certain conditions.
Any further discussion?
Move we put the ordinance on second reading by title.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Bob McAfee, put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance accepting Foxfire plat number 6 of the Carl Junction, subject to certain conditions.
Any further discussion?
Make a motion to put it on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by LaDonna Allen, put this ordinance on final passage. It's a hand vote to vote electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. Please vote electronically. The ordinance passes 7-0 with 1 absent. That is ordinance number 21-27.
Well, no, we're done then.
Who wrote all those? Who wrote all those? Next is the administration report. Are there any comments for the city administrator? Or disagreements with it?
Supposedly on the ARPA money, had an email today from MML, and we should be receiving guidance from the Office of Administration State. I hate to say in the near future, but pretty quick.
So has he applied for it?
I can't answer that. I have no idea.
They're just giving us guidance on what to do. Now, if someone would give him guidance on what to do,
Yeah.
we might be better off.
Anything else for the city administrator? Nope. Okay, then we go to department reports. Is that a public works report? Don't have one? Well, they're mowing a lot.
Out of my neighborhood.
You know, they did patch a hole in the
They did.
parking lot today at Lakeside Park.
Yep.
Okay, we'll just go right along then. We don't have a building inspector either, do they?
Not this
What?
one.
Go ahead, sir. Come,
So
sorry.
I don't know if I should bring it up now or visit. There's a pothole in the beginning of Angel Lee, probably like house or two in. That's been there for,
Off of Canal?
yeah, off the middle.
Okay.
I hit it every morning.
Take a different road.
I know.
You don't think you learn.
I do it on purpose to remember to
You're a
fix.
councilman.
I do
Slow
something.
learner.
I hit it on purpose so I remember to bring it up here.
Take that with your council. Yeah, take that with your council.
I'm gonna call it.
Okay, then, is that it for Public Works?
That's it.
We'll move on to Building Inspector. We didn't have a report for that this time. We'll have it next time, right? We had the first one last month. Next is the Police Department report. We have the Police Department report here. Chief, want to say that? Got anything else to add? Very good. Any questions? Everything going?
Thanks.
Not arresting a whole lot of people yet?
Well, I think golf carts, kids.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great.
That's all right.
That's good. We like that.
It's dangerous. It's very.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, nothing for the police department. Then we will move on to committee reports. Budget and finance. Is it on?
Well, we're spending a lot of money tonight, but fortunately, we do have it in the different accounts and reserves. I was wanting to try to give warning ahead of time, maybe second meeting in August or something, if the committee members would be available. I won't schedule it tonight, but let me know, because we're going to be 3 months, we'll be 1 quarter into the new budget, and there's a couple of things I want to get with Steve on some numbers, and I had a couple ideas. So hopefully August, maybe we can all get together and meet.
That's fine. We just want anything on the agenda. We may not have a city attorney at that time. Maybe out of town.
Did you work him too hard with ordinances?
Yes, he did.
Now, golf game's coming up.
Roger.
But like I said, I'll wait and schedule that next time, but I just kind of want to put it out there in case people were going to know they had a conflict. Maybe they would. Otherwise, that's all I got.
Anything for budget, anybody? Code news, it's Rick.
I need to schedule a code committee meeting, for next week. Tuesday night, 6,
We got council at 7.
yes.
So
Let's go 6 o'clock.
just FYI, come Monday morning, I'm gonna be in Cancun for 2 weeks.
Oh, so you're not gonna be here?
Huh.
Oh,
So that puts one of
No
you guys.
rush on that
yeah,
pothole.
I'll take care of it.
He said, good luck on that bottle.
I know, right? It's you and Gary.
Oh, we got this.
Oh, we got it. We can handle it.
You got right through here.
We'll do it then.
6 o'clock.
We go back
6
to-
o'clock.
As long as they agree, it'll be a majority.
6 o'clock on
I
the
hope
3rd.
they don't.
On when?
Tuesday the 3rd.
You can text me that I want it.
I'm in council.
That was a 6.
6.
Okay, 6 o'clock next Tuesday. Okay, anything else for code nuisance? Human resources, Roger.
No. Nothing.
Public facilities, Bob.
Nothing.
Senior citizens, Richard.
Just pray that the COVID stuff doesn't shut us all down again. It's kind of scary. That we had planned some, personally, had planned some stuff in Kansas City. And for next week, and they shut it all down. But places we were going, they shut them down. It's coming.
And to add to that, they have announced that their announced meals may differ because of the pipeline on deliveries. So it doesn't matter. It's always a good meal.
Yeah, there's a lot of shortages going on right now. A lot of
So
stuff.
it may have to differ. Yeah.
Can't get cilantro.
Thing did go.
I'm worried about cilantro.
Grow your own.
My raised garden collapsed during a storm.
Anything else for senior citizens?
No, we're old. Thank you.
All right, we're done then. Let's go with unfinished business. Bob? Gary?
I don't know if this is unfinished or new, but we have this wonderful welcome garden as we come in off 71 on Pinnell or Pinnell, however you pronounce it. But we can't see it right now. And I don't know what code is, and I'm on the code.
You're talking about the one down here, brother?
Yes, and
Yeah,
10 to 15 inches on weeds is more than enough. And so I think we need to contact MoDOT and let them know that they're in violation, or maybe we fine them, I don't know. But you can't even see the
Would be a
sign.
good idea.
Isn't this,
That'll give us some
state
good ones for
Well,
grants
I
next
just
year.
say, all I'm saying is, it's atrocious, that you cannot even see the efforts of many, including the city, the chamber, and the cultivators. You can't even see it because the weeds are
I went by there today. Do you have a low rider or something?
3 foot to 4 foot there.
I went by on my Subaru and I could see all
Well,
the
that's a
stuff down there.
Subaru, sorry. No, coming in, no, up here.
Yeah, right when you turn in off 171.
Well, you have very high seats.
Never mind a bus, I guess. I didn't have
It's in violation of everything.
Well, it may be a violation, but I can see it.
I would like to have
No problem.
MoDOT, I would like to have MoDOT
So I'll
contact.
make a,
isn't the state exempt from?
make one comment. MoDOT could care less what our weed.
I realize that.
But they have
I
already
think
been
you
contacted about another place in town because they have not mowed in the past 6 months.
can. So what can we do?
I notify them and hope that it gets taken care of.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
I agree, that's a beautiful garden.
Well, if you can see it,
Would that fall under MoDOT for special roads?
not trying to start anything. I just want to be a
But you
good
did it.
player in the neighborhood.
You're a good man.
You're stirring it up again.
That's what I stand.
Rick, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Roger?
No.
I have no unfinished business. Donna? Mike?
Nothing, sir.
Jim?
No, sir.
Mr. Tally?
No, sir.
Lena?
No, sir.
Mary Beth? Crystal?
No, sir.
Steve?
No, sir.
Mark? New business? Jim?
No, sir.
Mike?
Nothing, sir.
LaDonna?
Nothing today.
I have nothing. Roger?
Yes.
Go for it.
Steve, we need to do something about the water out there going down toward the park. I have pictures that shows the neighbors almost can go swimming out their front door. There's no place for that water to go after it goes down to the park. It just stands down there and builds up and it goes right up against their front porch.
Is that 4 Oaks or?
Yep.
Oh, Four Oaks?
Yep.
Yeah, it's, makes sense.
Just need to look at that.
And also my street lights out again.
I gotta have that little yellow tag number up.
I gave it to you.
Gee, you sound like Bob Hayes.
I'll have to get it from you again. 'Cause
Okay.
I send that number on the Empire and
It burnt the next night, but it's out again.
I had another report of one that they had just fixed. It did the same thing. Worked a couple of days and then was. Okay.
Okay, I'll get it for you. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Is that it? Rick, new business?
Sure.
Gary?
I only want to mention that the south side of town also stinks when it comes to MoDOT.
I think the whole street does. They won't want any of it.
It could do better.
Bob? Nothing. Mr. Tally?
No.
Lena?
Sir.
Mary Beth? Crystal?
No, sir.
Steve?
No, sir.
Mark? Is there any other business before the council?
Move we adjourn.
Motion by the Donna Allen, sent by Rick Flynn, that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much for attending. Thank you. Right here.